So let's have a look at workflows in Zahara, or approval processes. And that's why most of our customers have chosen Zahara, because they want to add some controls to the way that they do their buying. So all of the workflows sit at a division level. So if we go into divisions, and in my made up business here, Rapid Systems UK, we have our different departments, and you can create whatever divisions you want, and you can call them what you want as well. So if we go into the sales division, and you can see from here it's got an address, and you can have a different icon to represent it, and has its own budgets and things like that. But down towards the bottom of the page are the workflows, or the approval processes. Now if we look at order approval, on the face of it, this is a 5-step approval. So it's going to go to the departmental head, then the business unit head, then the finance director, then step 4 it's going to send a confirmation email, and step 5 it will send the purchase order on to the supplier. If we go into this and have a look at it in a bit more detail, click the name order approval, what we can see here are the steps in a little bit more detail. So those are our 5 steps. But the most important thing here is understanding the conditions. First of all, you can notice there's a conditional start that's possible on the workflow itself. So if I was to switch that to on and click add a condition, I've got some different choices here. I've got a choice of what the net value is, what the gross value of the order or the invoice is, who the originator was, i.e. who's created the order, who the supplier is, what type of supplier they are, if it's a specific type of product, if there's a difference between an order and an invoice, if there's an exceeding of the budget, and then we can use our custom fields as well as conditions. So for example, I could say on this particular approval process, I want it to trigger if the net value is more than 20,000. For example, that's just one of the conditions I can have. Or I could say, when the net value is more than 20,000 and the originator is equal to Brian Smith, for example. I'm not going to have any of those. I'm going to turn them all off. However, what I do have is some of those conditions on the steps. So in this particular approval, the first step, step 1, is to go to the department head. So this is in fact me, and the from email address I'm going to use to email this person is approvals@myzahara.net, and the subject I want for that particular email that I'm going to send them is approval required. I can add more details in there if I want to. I can even put in different placeholders so I can give them a little bit more information, so completely customizable. On the second step of the approval process, we can see that the conditional start is set to on, and it says that if the net value is more than 10,000. So step 1, we're going to go to the departmental head anyway. Step 2, we're only going to go to the business unit head, which for example could be Harry, if it's more than 10,000. We continue on. Step 3, we will only go to the finance director if it's more than 25,000. Say that's going to be Jonathan. And step 4, if we get this far, assuming no one's rejected at any of these steps, we will then send a confirmation email regardless to the originator to say that the order has been approved, and we can put as much information in this email as we want to them. And once we've sent that confirmation email, we can also then send an email to the supplier with a purchase order attached. We could put a condition on this and say we will only do this if the supplier type is equal to PO, for example. If your suppliers are like Amazon, you're not going to send them a purchase order. So these conditions that you can apply to a step, you can build them up. So as I said, you can add more conditions and say net value is more than 25,000 and net value is less than 35,000. So you could actually have an approval process with 5 steps in it, but you could come into the approval process and you could ignore step 1, ignore step 2, go straight in at step 3, and ignore step 4 and go straight into step 5. You can use the conditions any way you want. So if we take another look at our order approval with our 5 steps, how this actually works in reality is, regardless of what the conditions are, We start at the top and we work down to step 5. So we've effectively got our 5 steps to do. But of course, the outcome is determined by the approvers. So step 1, department head. Regardless of any conditions on step 2, 3, 4 or 5, if the department head, step 1, whatever it's called, whoever it is, rejects the order, then that's it. It won't go any further. It will only go on to step 2 if the department head approves it. So obviously there's another video where we show you, what that looks like in terms of the email they receive and how they can do that. But you need to understand that step 1 has to be evaluated, true or false. Is the condition met? Yes, it is. If it is, then this approval will be asked to approve. If they approve, then it will go to step 2. Same rules apply there. If it goes to step 2 and they reject, then 3, 4 and 5 are just not going to happen. That's the end of the approval process. So you just need to understand that it will go all the way through to step 5 provided the approvers approve.